really fascinating start to the season. A lot of great games across all of college football throughout the weekend. Ryan Day and Lou Holtz is a rivalry I never knew I needed till now. That's a different conference. But in terms of the Big 12, it was a very interesting weekend of football in which really we were able to see the home team find pretty good success in most of the games outside of road wins for Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think, first of all, the Lou Holtz thing was very funny to me, especially, I mean, that's an emotional win. I mean, it's a walk-off touchdown on the goal line. Granted, you only had to get past 10 defenders as opposed to the typical 11. But for that to be like the first thing he's thinking about is Lou Holtz. I mean, I don't care what Lou Holtz said. That is insane.
It was just so out of the blue. Like, well, I had no idea it even happened. And I'm thinking, he's going to be talking about how tough we are. I wasn't surprised about that Ohio versus everyone mentality. He was like, Lou Holtz, I got something to say. I'm like, what did Lou Holtz do? I didn't realize. I thought Lou Holtz, to be honest, I thought Lou Holtz was dead. So, like, that was shocking to me. I was like, why is he bringing up Lou Holtz?
I just picture like 86-year-old Lou Holtz like in his big living room. He's got his TV on the fireplace. He's got his old man pajamas on. He's got his slippers. He's got a blanket to keep him cozy. You just watching the football game like, oh, man, what a good game. Oh, man, Notre Dame lost. Bummer. Did he just bring me up? Is he talking about me?
Lou Holtz loves it. You know he just loves it. Like he has like what? How does Ryan Day? That's the first thing he thinks of.
I mean, such a big game too, and that's Kyle McCord was great. The running game, it was tough. It was gritty. They got after it. The new faces came in. Marvin Harrison Jr. thought that he may not finish the game. He came back and had a great night. And Lou Holtz is the first name that comes out of his mouth. It's incredible.
Hey, and Lou Holtz had a response as well earlier this week when he said, I can't wait to watch them play Penn State and play Michigan. They're going to get a real test. I'm like, my gosh, this man is just digging deep.
He's doubling down.
And he might be onto something. I don't know. It was a missed chance for Notre Dame. But, yeah, it's tough to win when you have 10 guys on the field for the last two plays.
And I have a best friend who's a Notre Dame fan. And the whole time, he's also very pessimistic just in general. But he kept talking about how bad the coaching was and how bad the play calling was. I'm like, Ohio State's really good. The coaching's fine. Stop crying about it. And then at like 11 o'clock, I saw a clip pointing that out, that you only had 10 guys on the field for the last two plays. And I thought, man, I hope he doesn't see that. And 5 minutes later, I get a text message. I'm like, shoot. Can't believe it. I almost was crazy enough for a couple Notre Dame fans I chatted with that I said, should we bring back Brian Kelly? I'm sure he could get rid of that Southern accent real quick if he had to. I will say this. I'm very impressed with Marcus Freeman. I mean, granted, he hasn't, accomplished much yet, but to keep that program stable and now get to a point where you're able to go in the transfer portal, get a very sought-after quarterback, Wake Forest's all-time leading passer, and Sam Hartman. And, even though you can't pull off the win against Ohio State's been an S-tier football program for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you can even look like you're playing the same sport with them, especially compared to how they looked last year against Ohio State. I mean, I'm way more impressed with the job that he's done than, say, a Brian Kelly who takes over a prominent school in a very hot recruiting bed.
Yeah, you're dead right, because Notre Dame, look, they do have higher academic standards. They do have certain things to get into school. So recruiting can be a little bit more difficult. Brian Kelly cited that when he left, that he wanted less standards when it came to recruiting the best talent in America. And you're dead right. Marcus Freeman, his team have done an outstanding job of creating a lot of enthusiasm for that program. For Notre Dame team that, they've played in one national championship game in this century, and they lost pretty convincingly over a decade ago to Alabama. So, do give them the credit where it's deserved. And yet at the same time, be aware that in college football, oh man, that week-to-week basis is wild. And now he's going to be put under more of a microscope, that if it's another close game and there are enough guys on the field, or if there's miscommunication between coaches and players or all that coaching staff is going to be under a more watchful eye going forward. So that's college football in a nutshell. Those type of mistakes, especially those big programs with pretty wild fan bases, boy, they don't forget them for a long time, and they're not tolerated very long.
And the thing that kind of caught me off guard with that specific situation is that he mentioned, he didn't want to rush a guy out there and get a penalty. The ball's on the 1 yard line. It's a 1.5 foot worth of penalty that you're giving up to fill a hole on the defensive line. It's one thing if you have like a safety or like an outside linebacker who may not provide like secondary coverage, but if you're inside the 1 yard line, you got to at least have your defensive lineman. And I had someone point out, like, it's not just on the coach. It's like, if you're a linebacker and you don't see somebody in front of you where you typically do, doesn't that draw some attention before, it's too late per se? But I thought that was an interesting one. Like, if there is ever going to be a situation where you want to give up a 5-yard penalty, it's when it's only worth a 1.5 foot. That's inches.
And I'll add too, like, I think pretty stunning that a coach upstairs didn't see it for 2 consecutive plays. Like, look, you and I have been in enough press boxes in our life, Brandon, that there's usually a coach at the high school level, any level that is up there, and they are counting, do we have enough guys on the field or do we have too many guys on the field? It can work both ways. And the fact that that just didn't happen for Notre Dame 2 plays in a row on the 2 most important plays of the game is just straight up inexcusable. So pretty wild ending, though. And I guess, if they had 11 guys out there, then shoot, I guess NBC should have gotten to Lou Holtz in his recliner somewhere in America, because I'm sure he would have one heck of a statement about how weak Ryan Day is and Ohio State is. And I would have been as probably shocked or as entertained as I was vice versa.
I mean, there's like a 0% chance we ever know those Lou Holtz comments if Notre Dame wins that game. Because, I mean, like you said, I didn't even know he said anything until Ryan Day brought it up.
It was literally not new. Like, I mean, yeah, he did say it, but I thought, I guess I don't care. It wasn't that newsworthy. Yeah. So when he brought that up on national TV, I'm like, what is he talking about? And then, you're naturally, you're like, well, check on your phone quick and you read the quotes. And you're like, it's Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz just, you get a certain age, like, you just don't care anymore. I mean, Joe Namath this week just said Zach Wilson's a terrible starting quarterback and shouldn't be on the New York Jets. I thought, Joe Namath's over 80 years old. He can say whatever he wants. Yeah. You reach an age, I feel like that filter, who cares?
Yeah, it's and especially when it's a Notre Dame legend. Like, it's not like it's like a hard-hitting journalist who's, trying to, of course he's going to talk stuff about Ohio State. He's a Michigan guy or a Notre Dame guy.
Yeah. That's just natural. I mean, I would hope you kind of rep your school in some way, but, I guess whatever it takes to, fire it up. And hey, it happened across all college football this week. I mean,